Hey everybody, AJ here, and welcome back to the Eagle Ray live stream. This is the much more informal version of the Eagle Ray channel. I think I'm having some audio issues right now because it's been quite a while since I streamed, so it might take a minute to figure this out. Hey everybody, AJ here, and welcome back to the Eagle Ray live stream. This is the much more... That's probably why. I had the live stream open while I was trying to stream. That will happen occasionally, I guess, but hopefully we won't have any more issues other than that. But I am going to get started right back with the same format that we always had before. It's been about 5.5 months since I did a live stream because I had to put the release schedule on pause so that I could make a lot of new plans for where the channel was going to go. And so I have now a whole bunch of new videos that are going to be coming up over the next few months. And we have just crossed over 1,000 subscribers. So the giveaway that we had planned in the early half of 2023 is now on the table. We crossed over the mark to 1,000 subscribers just this past Thursday, and so the Milwaukee Angle Grinder giveaway is possibly happening on this live stream, but anytime there's a giveaway, there needs to be 100 people in the chat in order to do the giveaway. So it's early days on the channel still, and because I've not been streaming for a little while, might take a few weeks to start building up enough people in the chat before we can actually do the giveaway. But if you're watching this after the fact, or if you're here live, reach out to anybody you think might be interested in this by sharing the link to this live stream with them. Let them know if we get 100 people in here, we'll give this away today, and if not, we'll do it at the same time next week. But we are going to start today by just talking about the current state of affairs in the electric marine industry, like we usually do. And then we'll watch the latest Eagle Ray video, and at the end we'll take any questions from the audience if there are any. So let me see here. Let's jump straight into the latest news for the industry. So I wanted to focus on batteries for this video. We're often talking about lithium batteries, but in particular, things are kind of heating up as far as production goes in the States, because there's a lot of talk on the town about infrastructure and how we need to get the jobs back from China back over here, because the toll that outsourcing has taken on our economy over the past decade is really starting to hit home. And I think it's a big concern for anybody who's on any side of the aisle politically. I don't like to make any of this stuff political. In my mind, bringing jobs back home is really not that political an issue anyway. But electric propulsion can be, just because the EV industry is popular in certain parts of the country and not so much in others, it seems. But in my mind, if there are jobs that come back to the States largely from the growth of the EV industry, I'm totally okay with that. And so I wanted to start off by looking at this this article by the S&P Global. They did this back in May. They counted up all the numbers for the number of lithium-ion batteries that we import every year, and they looked at all the way back to 2018, and what they're seeing is pretty incredible. Ever since about 2020, when we hit the pandemic, we started buying a ridiculous number more lithium batteries. And it's not too surprising, because the EV industry was expected to kind of expand right around that time anyway. But the thing is, when you look at this chart, and I'm not sure if I am standing kind of in the way of it. So you look right here at the end of this chart, we have 2022 and 2023 especially. Right about here is where it really started to take off to the upside. And the dark green bars are the EV portion of the battery imports. These are imports coming from China into the U.S. And so you can see the EV import batteries have gone up, but we also have one of our biggest EV makers, Tesla, is manufacturing batteries in the States. So I don't think those count in this list. Tesla does import some batteries from China still, but I think a lot of them now are being manufactured in Nevada and their new plant in Austin. So that's probably contributing to the fact that among all of the lithium batteries that we bring in from China, there's only like 20%-ish of them are actually for EVs. The rest of them are for probably mostly for energy storage for the grid. Because we've talked a little bit about it before in live streams that the grid is obviously, everybody knows it's outdated, but the way that they're updating it is by building peaker plants all over the place. And what they do is they build giant lithium batteries that can come online when the grid is under stress to take some of the load off of the main plant. And so I imagine that a large chunk of this battery import action is coming from that. And then there are other things. There's off-grid storage for people who have a cabin and want a big battery bank to power their house off-grid. But also the marine industry uses mostly LFP batteries, which are kind of hand-me-downs from the EV industry. And so that would show up in this light green category as well. And the really interesting thing is that if you follow this back to 2018, you can see the exponential growth curve just starting to rise, such that it looks like right around 2026 or 2027, it's really going to hit an intense amount of growth. And that's kind of scary because if you total this up, I think just in Q1 of 2023, we have, if I remember right, it was 230,000 tons of lithium batteries. And I just did some quick math. I grabbed one of my lithium batteries that I have here, and this thing powers a small boat for 5 hours on the water at full throttle, ish, a little bit less actually. But it's got 1.28 kilowatt hours of energy, and it weighs about 20 pounds. And so what I did was I just multiplied that with some napkin math to figure out how many of those I would need to fill up 230,000 tons. And then figured out based on the current price of that battery how much it would cost if all of these green bars were that battery. And the cost came out to over $100 billion. And that's just Q1 of 2023. So if you imagine quarters 2, 3, and 4 are fairly similar, that means we're closing in on importing $500 billion worth of batteries into the United States from China, right? So we need to start building these in the United States. That's closing in on half the size of the auto industry, for example. The auto industry right now is over $1 trillion. But just the battery industry, not the EV industry in general, but the battery part of the industry and all industries that use batteries, this sector is becoming one of the biggest in our economy. And it makes sense that it would. It's taking market share from the oil industry, and eventually it's probably going to end up with a lot more than the current share, which we'll see as this growth curve starts to really go exponential. But already in 2023, almost $500 billion imported from China. So in order to establish a bit of energy independence, which is going to be direly needed if there's any serious political conflict in the future, we really need to start building a lot of factories in the United States. And that is actually happening because it seems like every week I open up a new article that says some startup is building a new factory not too far away. So in this week's lineup, I saw that there's a Utah-based company that is building a factory called American Battery Factory, very patriotic, in Arizona. So it's interesting that they were founded in Utah, and they tried to get this thing going in Utah, but they weren't able to because you would think that a battery factory is going to figure out a way to power itself with its own batteries. I think that would be ideal, put a bunch of solar panels on the top. The Tesla talks about doing that with their gigafactories, even though it's taken them years to get all the way there, and they're still not quite all the way there yet. I don't think I haven't checked in a while. But it just takes years to build the infrastructure for as much power as a factory uses to get that from solar and store it in batteries and power the whole factory is an incredible capital outlay. And so in the meantime, to get these factories up and running quickly, they're going to have a grid resource that provides an intense amount of power early on as in kind of an energy kickstarter. So in Utah, they were looking for a 25 megawatt power source in order to build their first pilot factory. And Utah didn't have any power source anywhere in the state that could spare that much power. And so they had to go out of state. They went to Tucson, Arizona, and that's where they're going to be building this factory. So they claim the funding is all in place on this factory. They're breaking ground soon, and they're going to be up and running and be outputting lithium iron phosphate batteries in 18 months. That's what they say. I am very skeptical about that because I've never heard of a battery factory that broke ground and then was issuing batteries off the line in less than 3 years. They want to do it in 18 months. However, there is word of factories going online that fast in China, but they have different political situations in China. It's very centrally controlled from the top. So if the government from the top looks down and says, we need a battery factory and we need it now, then they make it happen right away. Whereas in the States, we have a push and pull between federal and state, and a lot of the time that makes things move forward a lot slower. So the big question, I guess, is will all the regulatory red tape be ushered out of the way so that factories like this can really get online in the time that we need? Because $500 billion already in 2023, going to be a lot more in 2024. We're very soon going to be paying way too much money to China for our energy. So we need to get these factories online fast. And it looks like these guys know that, and they want to launch this thing by 2025. Somewhere in mid-2025, they want to be producing batteries, which would be very cool. One thing I want to draw your attention to is that one of the investors is a Utah-based company called Lion Energy. I'm not sure if the founders are associated with these guys, but they're all Utah-based. Lion Energy makes lithium iron phosphate batteries. You can go on Amazon, I think, and buy them. I don't know if they're for sale on Amazon, but I've seen them for sale here and there. They're fairly expensive as lithium batteries go. I haven't tried one of their batteries before. I'm sure they're fairly similar to all the other LFPs that are on the market. And as soon as they have this factory online, as an investor, I imagine they're going to have some kind of supply deal with the factory to get their hands on these batteries very early. Now, there are questions about whether they, as the investor, will have control over whether their competitors will be able to get a hold of these batteries too. But I think ideally, however many batteries this factory can make, is not going to be near enough for the supply that our whole country needs. So they probably will have early access to all the batteries they need, and so we'll need to keep an eye on Lion Energy in the next couple of years. If this factory comes online in 2025, then by 2026 we should be seeing Lion batteries cost a little bit less, I hope. But there are questions about that because you definitely will have some supply chain savings from not having to ship all of this stuff over the Pacific Ocean. But on the other hand, you have workers in this factory probably getting paid a lot more than workers in China get paid. And so will that balance out? Will it make the batteries made here a little bit more expensive, a little bit less? Very hard to say until some of these factories start coming online. So I'm going to be watching this particular factory closely. Try and find out exactly what the batteries cost that are made with cells that come out of this factory. I'm very curious to see if we can successfully onshore these cells in massive quantities and have it actually cost less, because that will be a game changer. I'm really excited about that. So that's all I kind of wanted to cover news-wise. So the next thing we're going to do is watch through the latest Eagle Ray video that came out. I'm going to check the chat real quick. Looks like we have a couple people watching, but nobody's commenting yet, and that's cool. It's a fairly quiet chat room because the channel is still very small. But like I said, as soon as we can get a good group of people in the chat, I'm still working on my live streaming game. I just figured out how to put thumbnails on the front of my live streams, so I think that's going to go a long way in the future toward allowing the live streams to be noticed by people who are subscribed already well before the live stream starts. and so hopefully we'll have more people starting next week. And you know, I'm just gonna keep growing the channel until we have a good group of people in here. So we'll see how long it takes, but the Milwaukee Angle Grinder giveaway is going to come up on whichever live stream we get 100 people into in the next few weeks. So let everybody know who you think might be interested in winning the Angle Grinder, and hopefully they'll show up next week too. But let's watch the latest Eagle Ray video that just came out a few days ago. This one is about, of all things, overpriced lithium batteries. It's been on my mind a lot because if you if you kayak or you run a small john boat or whatever you're running, if you've got lithium batteries on it, you've probably seen it whenever you go to Amazon or eBay or wherever. Some of these batteries are priced insanely high, like so high that I would never touch them with a 10-foot pole, personally. And I have gone back and forth with lots of people in the Facebook groups about why I'm such a cheapskate about it. Because I know a lot about what these batteries can do internally, and so I feel like I have good reasons to be a cheapskate. So we're going to jump into this video and watch all of the details about how you can effectively, fairly price any battery against any other battery in the market. That's what the video is about. But before we turn it on, I just want to talk specifically about one complaint that I got when I put this video out a few days ago. A guy in the Facebook group, the Tiny Boat Nation group, I think it was. I'm in a few Facebook groups talking with people about these batteries. And the biggest complaint I got was that LFP batteries don't come all the same from every manufacturer. Some of them are higher grade than others. And I didn't actually mention the grade of a battery in this video at all. And there's a specific reason for that. It's because lithium battery grades were invented by the EV industry to differentiate between a battery that can go in an EV and a battery that can't. If they call it A grade, it's because it can do something in the realm of 800 to 1,000 amps for 30 seconds without exploding, without getting too hot. And so the Chinese government has very stringent regulations about this. When the OEMs who are making these cells test them right off the line, they have to perform to that grade in order to be allowed to be put in an electric car. Otherwise, they're considered not safe to go in an EV, and they get put in another bin. And that other bin is called B grade, and I don't know what the proportion of A grade versus B grade is that comes off their lines, but there is an immense number of B grade cells that get sold in the aftermarket. So the OEMs give them to auctioneers, and the auctioneers sell them to Chinese resellers. Chinese resellers sell them to American resellers. American resellers put them into a plastic box and put an American label on them and sell them to us. So there's so many middlemen in the process that there's a lot of potential for people to get confused about the quality of the cells. The way it actually is if you've watched enough footage online of people who go in and test all the different types of cells they can get their hands on, the consensus is that if you're pulling less than 100 amps in any given application, you don't need A grade. It's exactly the same as B grade for the entire life of the battery, for the most part. And I'm sure some people will take exception to me saying that because they spent a lot of money on A grade, so they have skin in the game, feeling like they made a smart purchase. But the truth is, unless you're putting them in an EV, you probably paid too much for A grade if you bought A grade. And the other thing is, the American resellers, when they get these A grade batteries in, often they don't even know if they're actually A grade. It takes a lot of expensive equipment to test the batteries to confirm that they're A grade, and some sellers don't even bother. So they trust their Chinese seller who said they were A grade. And there's so much evidence online of shady Chinese resellers putting fake stickers onto B grade batteries and calling them A grade. So there's so much nonsense in the market that, in my opinion, it's just better to stay on the cheap bargain end of the market and just test everything that you receive. So if you're set up to do a quick capacity test the moment you receive a new battery, then you know immediately whether it's hitting its mark on capacity, and as long as you need less than 100 amps out of it, which is basically everything deep cycle in the marine industry, there's no trolling motor that's going to pull 100 amps. So B grade is totally fine, and that means you shouldn't be paying triple in order to get A grade, in my opinion. So somebody may disagree. Leave a comment down below if you hate the idea that B grade is just as good as A grade. I think it is, unless you're in an EV. Let me know in the comments below if you disagree. But we're going to watch the video because it contains mostly information about how to compare any lithium battery against any other. Knowing that some of them are priced 3 times or even sometimes 4 times as much as others, there's some quick math calculations you can do to figure out the price that you should be paying relative to everything that's on the market right now. So that's what this video is about. Let's take a look.
Walk into a fast food chain and you find out that one cheeseburger costs $1, but wait, for a limited time you can get 2 cheeseburgers for $4? Everybody knows that's a bad deal, but as soon as you replace burgers with batteries, then everybody falls for the same trick, just because the numbers are larger, so the math is a little more difficult. But in this video, I'm going to show you everything you need to know so that you never fall for this trick again. Hey everybody, AJ here, and welcome back to the Eagle Ray channel, where we do all things DIY electric boats. Marine motors, batteries, solar panels, you name it. If it's got volts and it's on a boat, you are in the right place. Today, we are going to figure out how to spot an overpriced battery. With a lot of products, as soon as you supersize it, you're supposed to get a better bang for your buck. But that is often not the case with batteries. In fact, it's kind of opposite the case a lot of the time. I'm not even sure how these battery companies get away with it so consistently. But I think it's because batteries and electricity in general are complicated enough that a lot of people end up trusting the salespeople as the experts, and that is where we run into trouble. We all know that salespeople are sometimes not very trustworthy, so how do you tell if your battery has been priced correctly? We've got to have a way to go apples to apples on the value of a battery, no matter how big or how small it is. And the trouble is that we're often too focused on the price. So if you ask yourself, what is the most important thing about the battery other than the price, then we can get down to it. The problem is there's a lot of attributes attached to a battery. There's voltage, current, power, capacity, and each of these measurements is important, but it's just a piece of the puzzle. We need one measurement, one number that will represent the entire value of the battery wrapped into one.
There's only one way to wrap all of these measurements into a single unit. If you boil your battery's value down into a single number, the number that you want to look at is the energy of your battery.
There we go. Okay. So is my mic good? My mic is good. Okay. So I just wanted to jump in and say there's going to be a lot of batteries showing up on screen. I don't like to call out specific brands too directly. Because I want to leave it open for any brands to do better in the future. In my mind, a lot of these brands are just doing what they can to get the highest dollar amount for the product they offer. And if nobody's complaining about it, they'll just keep selling at that price. And I don't think a lot of them are paying that much attention to how much their competitors are charging. So I think a lot of brands that were good 5 years ago are just not looking at the current pricing on the market and realizing, wow, some of these competitors that have come in the past 2 years are pricing way lower than I am now. So I don't want to hate too much on some of these brands. The ones you see on screen, for example, they charge a lot for their batteries, but that doesn't mean they're terrible companies, in my opinion. It just means they need to kind of get with the times a little bit. That's part of why I make videos like this. I hope they understand, like, I want them to do better, but in my opinion, they're just charging too much in some of these cases.
You're going to be willing to pay more. But if they just put a little bit more ketchup in it, you probably shouldn't be paying a lot more for that. The problem is with batteries, they throw in these extra little bells and whistles like smart Bluetooth features, and they expect you to pay double. So you have to watch out. You have to remember why you're buying a battery. The primary purpose is to store energy. Anytime a salesperson is trying to dazzle you with bells and whistles, you should bring it back to this question. What is the price per kilowatt hour?
Whatever your business needs, Vistaprint can print it, like packaging for tape to thank you cards.
Or merch from t-shirts to caps, even a logo that you can put on all.
Alright, I'm going to skip past this. Go.
Don't even worry about it. Just remember that it's the number that represents your fuel tank size. And fuel tank size is the best way to keep track of how much your battery is worth. But what if the battery's product page doesn't give you kilowatt hours? You can find them with a simple formula. I know it's math, and it'd be really nice if the seller would just do the math for you and give you the answer. But here's the thing. They are never going to do that for you. The seller is motivated to hide the numbers behind the math so that you can't see what their battery is actually worth. Look at this NOCO battery, for example. NOCO would never show you the kilowatt hour price on the product page because if they did, you'd easily see how they're charging more than $2,000 per kilowatt hour, which is more than 10 times the apples-to-apples price of their competitors. And to be fair, NOCO makes a lot of great products, but this battery in particular is priced way too high in my opinion. I don't know about you, but nothing gets my math brain in gear more than a salesperson who's trying to pull the wool over my eyes. So let's do this math together, because it's simple enough that a fifth grader could probably figure it out. Check it out. If you're on a product page, they will never give you the kilowatt hour number, but they will give you voltage and they'll give you amp hours. And you can use those two tidbits to plug into this formula to figure out the rest. This is our apples to apples formula. It's really easy. Volts times amp hours will give us watt hours, and then you just take the watt hours and divide by 1,000, and that'll convert it to kilowatt hours, and that is the energy in your battery. And you can take that number and compare it to the same number from any other battery, and that's how you get apples to apples. So if you have a calculator handy, it'll take you 10 seconds to plug this in. All you need to know is this formula. Volts times amp hours divide by 1,000. That's the whole formula. Remember that, and you're ready to go apples to apples on any battery of any size in order to figure out which one is the best price. Let's try an example. Here's a 20 amp hour pack that costs $70. And here's a 46 amp hour pack that costs $400. Which one's the better deal? First, we got to use our apples to apples formula to figure out the energy in our first battery. So we've got 12.8 volts times 20 amp hours. That gives us 256 watt hours. Divide that by 1,000, and we've got 0.256 kilowatt hours of energy. So this manufacturer is asking $70, and they're giving us 0.256 kilowatt hours of energy. Same thing for the second pack. We've got 12 volts times 46 amp hours. That gives us 552 watt hours. Divide that by 1,000 and we get 0.552 kilowatt hours of energy. This manufacturer is asking.
Just wanted to jump in here again and let you know, if you just joined us, we're just going through the latest Eagle Ray video that came out on the channel a few days ago. You can watch it uninterrupted without my commentary just by going to the video section and picking the latest video. Basically, we're learning how to not get ripped off on batteries in this video, and I just wanted to jump in and let you know that the giveaway is happening at the end in just a few minutes if we can get 100 people in the chat. And obviously, we're in a pretty small channel right now, so we only have a few people in chat right now, so probably not going to make it this week. But anybody who you think might be interested in winning this Milwaukee angle grinder, this is what we're giving away as a reward to my audience for helping get us over the 1,000 subscriber mark, which just happened back on Thursday. So we're giving this away as soon as we have 100 people in the chat. Anytime we live stream Sunday at 2 p.m. Pacific, when we get to 100 people in chat, we're going to give this away.
Per kilowatt hour. That is crazy. This is now the apples to apples price. They're charging $273 per kilowatt hour. They're charging $724 per kilowatt hour. The Dakota is asking for nearly 3 times as much for the same amount of energy. It's kind of like the cheeseburger situation. When the fast food place is charging you more per burger when you buy more cheeseburgers, it doesn't really make much sense, but that's exactly what this company is doing, and they get away with it because they are pretty confident that you are never going to do the math. If you run a bunch of numbers on batteries, what you'll find is that sellers are all across the map on the amount of energy they'll give you for the dollar they charge. But it's even more complicated than that because sometimes you're looking at batteries of different chemistries as well. The two popular chemistries in the marine industry right now are lead acid and lithium iron phosphate. And if you try and compare costs from one to the other, you can't just look at the fuel tank size anymore. That formula that we looked at earlier is not going to be sufficient when you have two different chemistries, because there's other stuff going on in the background with different chemistries. For example, a lead battery is always going to seem cheaper than a lithium battery when they're the same size, and so that throws things off, and it's because there are other factors. The lithium battery, for example, will have about 6 times as many life cycles, so it would make sense just on that for the lithium battery to cost 6 times as much as the lead battery of the same size, but they usually are much less than that. So the lithium is actually quite a better deal than lead in almost any case I've ever seen. But you would never know that just by using the formula that we looked at earlier. So just remember, if you want to use the formula, the thing to do is to make sure that you're comparing two different batteries of the same chemistry. So you can compare a lithium to a lithium, you can compare a lead to a lead, but you shouldn't just use the formula to compare a lead to a lithium. And to be fair, energy is not the only way to value your battery. It's just by far the most important factor. In my opinion, everything else is just window dressing. Warranties, Bluetooth, temperature sensors are all nice, but none of them should be worth more than a few percentage points extra. The kilowatt hour number is the meat, and these items are the condiments. I hope this video was helpful. I want to be clear that I did not take any sponsorships from any battery companies during the making of this video, and in general, I avoid sponsorships from battery and motor brands because I want my reviews to be as unbiased as possible. But if I ever did take a sponsorship, I would disclose it very clearly at the top of the video. So if you're looking at a certain battery brand, let me know which one it is in the comments below so that maybe I can bring it in for a future review.
We're going to give it another try next week.
Also, join us for the live stream
the channel's small
this
enough
Sunday
that
at 2 p.m. Pacific
it may be a few weeks until we can do the giveaway, because
angle grinder is going to go to somebody very
had a
soon.
few
The
people in
goal
the chat this
was,
time.
as soon as we hit
We
1,000
just
subscribers, I'm going to give away this tool.
I'm just
and we are a
figuring out
stone's
how to
throw
live
away
stream
from that goal.
in general,
Less
so
than
I'm
20 subscribers away from doing
I
it.
am
So if
going
you haven't
to
subscribed
put
yet,
out
you
the
might be the
notice
one to
that the
put us
live
over
stream
the
is
edge so
coming
that we can give this
several
tool
hours
away
in advance
on the
starting
live
next
stream
week
this Sunday.
with a
And next
good
week, we're
thumbnail
doing a
this time,
similar
so I
video
think
to
that will
this
make
week,
a big
except
difference
instead of
in
focusing
bringing
on
some people
batteries,
in.
we're going to look at electric motors.
And you know, we'll build up the
sometimes
audience
electric motor brands are
piece at a
playing
time, I
just
think,
as
over
many
the next
tricks
few
as
weeks.
battery brands
And
are.
as soon as
So we're going to
possible,
see how we
as soon as
can
we have
avoid getting
100
ripped
people
off
in the
there,
chat,
too.
we're going to do the
Until
giveaway.
I see you in the live stream
But
on
until
Sunday,
then,
I hope
anybody
that
you know
set
who
aside some
might want to
time
win the
to
giveaway,
get out
let
on
them
the
know the
water
stream is
and have
happening
some fun
on
this
Sundays
week.
at 2 p.m.
Until then, go
because
safe.
we
Take care.
are over the 1,000 subscriber mark now, and so it's not going to be too long before we do another giveaway right after we get that one off the table. In the meantime, we got a video coming out. I'm aiming for one per week for the next 20 weeks or so is what I have lined up, and then I'm planning to keep going after that. But I just wanted to, before we wrap up, draw your attention to a couple other things, because I've been working hard to bring Eagle Ray to the next level, and I just in that vein, I released the first short video this week. I don't really know what I'm doing there either, but I'm experimenting right now. So this short video came out on Wednesday. It's kind of an abridged version of the video that we just watched, and it got a few thousand views, which, as I understand for shorts, is not great. It didn't really go anywhere, except it was I think it helped a few thousand people discover the channel for the first time. We did get about a dozen new subscribers just from this video, so I think I'm going to keep doing that every week. It might not always be about the same content as the main long-form video that comes out every week, which is always coming out on Wednesdays. So for right now, the schedule is going to be, I'm going to try and put out a long-form video on Wednesday, probably a short-form video on the same day, and then Sundays will be the live stream. And if that schedule shifts around at all, I will let you guys know. But to wrap up, I just want to draw your attention, in case we do have the giveaway on deck next week, to the giveaway rules. So until we get the giveaway done, every video that comes out on the channel will have the Milwaukee angle grinder giveaway rules right here at the bottom of the description. So you can just scroll down here and copy this bit.ly link into a new tab and paste and enter. And here we are, Milwaukee angle grinder giveaway rules. So now that we're past 1,000 subscribers, it's not going to be too long before we do this giveaway. So here are the rules. If you want to win this thing, you've got to be 16 years of age. You've got to have an address that I can ship it to in the lower 48 United States. You need an active YouTube account, obviously. You wouldn't be watching the live stream if you didn't have one. An email address attached to that account. Your email address doesn't have to be attached to that account, but I do need to be able to verify that you own both the account and the email address. So we'll look at the rules on how to do that. But you need to make sure that on your YouTube channel you have keep all my subscriptions private turned off, so that if you're the winner, I can go to your channel and confirm that you're a subscriber, because that is the fifth requirement. You need to be signed in on that account when you come to the live stream, and you need to be subscribed to Eagle Ray in order to participate in the drawing. So when we do the drawing, if you've checked all 5 of those boxes, then you're eligible to be in. And you might be able to win the angle grinder. And that's basically how all of the giveaways will work on the Eagle Ray channel. My plan is to always be doing some kind of giveaway once we hit the threshold. Very next week, I'm going to try and find another prize to be giving away when we reach another level. But the way the winning works is I'm going to pick a commenter from the live stream at random. As the winner. I'm going to call out their YouTube handle as the winning handle, and they will need to email the address that's listed in the rules here, and they need to write subject line giveaway winner. They need to write I won the giveaway. My YouTube account name is whatever your account name is, and I will reply to that with a passcode so that I can confirm you're not just some random live stream member who wanted to take the giveaway. And you will take that passcode and paste it into the comment section of the latest community post on the Eagle Ray channel. So if you've never seen the Eagle Ray community section, every YouTube channel has a community section. Not very many YouTubers use these sections very frequently. But if you go to youtube.com/@EagleRay1/community, or if you're just on the Eagle Ray page, and you click on the tab that says community, then you'll see a bunch of text posts that I've been putting up recently. Like when we hit 1,000 subscribers, that's where I announced it. If you have notifications turned on, these will show up in your homepage and your feed on your end. And if you have won one of the giveaways, you'll get the passcode from me in email. You will come back here, because right after I finish a giveaway drawing, I'm going to come in here and say, congratulations, so-and-so, whatever your YouTube handle is. That's probably not going to be appropriate, but you get the idea. So-and-so. And I'm going to say, you won the Milwaukee angle grinder giveaway. Please paste your confirmation passcode here in a reply. And then you would hit reply on this post and paste your passcode, and that's how I know that your YouTube account is connected and associated with that email account that you used to receive that code. And from there, I can email you and get your shipping address and be able to ship the winning prize out to you. So that is how that is going to work. There are a few specifics to the rules. I wanted to make sure this works the same way for everybody. But one more thing I wanted to note about the giveaway: when we do it, possibly next week, but maybe a few weeks down the road, this is going to be one of the prizes that you get. But also, because this is a cordless tool, and the Milwaukee batteries are pretty friggin' expensive. I have a bunch of them here, so I'm going to give one of my batteries away with this tool. I'm going to put it in the box. It's like new, because I have a few that I've hardly ever used. So I'm going to give you one of the like new batteries that I have on hand so that you can get up and running with this thing right away. Now, I think they do include one cutoff wheel in here, but you can put a bunch of different types of discs on this angle grinder. So if you've never used a grinder before, you definitely want to do a little bit of research about all the things you can do with this thing. You can cut metal, you can polish metal, you can shape welds, you can strip paint off of metal, anything you want to do with metal. This is the perfect starting tool to do any metalworking. DIY boat building stuff, you must have an angle grinder. This is a must-have tool. I use it practically every day. So that is the entire live stream for this week. Hopefully we'll build up the chat audience before not too long so that we can do the giveaway once we have 100 people in chat. But until we get there, I want to wish you guys a good day, and I will be back again on Wednesday with another full-length video. And until I see you again, I hope that you spend some time on the water this week and enjoy yourself. It's so much fun to be out on the lake, especially now that it's cool enough. Like, I haven't been on the lake much in the past few months because it's summertime in Arizona, blazing hot, but we're going into fall, so you guys are going to see a lot more footage with me back on the water again. Until Wednesday, when I see you again, have a good one. Boat safe. Take care.